I call Brett Hudson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's a pleasure to rise in support of this Gambling Amendment Bill number 3. It was a challenging bill to work on, sir, because I sit on the Government Administration Committee. And it's one of these, actually a three-way balance, because we have the reality that many Kiwis enjoy gambling and don't suffer any harm from it. There are about $700 million a year expended on Class 4 machines. But then again, there are a small group of people who have gambling problems who clearly do experience harm as a result of their problems with gambling. But the third arm, if you will, in this balance is in actual fact the good that is returned to the community through Class 4 gambling. So the amount is actually, or it was in 2013, $246 million returned to local communities for sports and community groups, so for good, public good within those communities. And so as a committee we had to balance the idea that, there's the entertainment aspect, there's the community good, and there is the potential for real harm. And the data shows us, which again is a challenge in itself, because the data shows us that the percentage of people with genuine problem gambling is about 0.7%. So as a percentage, it's not a large group of people. But the reality is, for that group of people, the problem is extraordinarily serious and quite wide-ranging in its impact, not only on them but on their families. So the committee worked together to work out how we could bring a bill back to the House that would deliver the things we want to deliver, particularly around increasing transparency of grant making, so that sunlight is the best disinfectant, so that we can avoid rorting and distortions. But also, actually within that, another great part of that is that there are elements in the bill that will ensure that the maximum amount of funds possible will be returned to the local community where the gambling took place. And I think that's a fantastic change, Mr Speaker. Along with that, we're making sure that we're reducing potential conflict of interest situations with the societies, the venues and the grant recipients, improving transparency around management companies. That was an area where it was felt that, to put not too fine a point on it, some cost rorting could have been undertaken, and also simplifying compliance and reducing costs. And here's where I wish to just talk about this commission payment thing. The Minister has pointed out, one, that this is an area we want the regulators, the internal affairs, to give advice on. But the reality or the evidence is that the rates of problem gambling are similar in Australia as they are here, and yet Australia does permit large amounts of profit actually to be made from this sort of gambling. And there are similar rates in places like Britain, Canada and Sweden. Similarly also, Lotto is a commission payment-based system, and there were no reports through our process that commission-based system was creating any perverse incentives or bad incentives for lotto operators to seek to extract more money out of gamblers. And also, because I encourage them to take an evidence-based approach to their thinking, Professor Bill Abbott, Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Dean of the Auckland University of Technology, who in his submission said he did not favour a commission-based system, he did acknowledge that there is no evidence that provides any causal sort of proof or evidence that a commission system will result in negative incentives. So I do encourage the department to take that into their thinking. But in the end, what I would say, Mr Speaker, I think we've returned a very good bill, a very sensible set of changes to the House, and I commend this bill to the House.